Hi everybody, welcome to the fourth video in charting for single case research. We're picking up where we left off in tutorial number 3, where we inserted data into a plot but hadn't yet styled it to look in the manner that we want it to look. Right now, looking at the plot right now, our title is at default, our axes are at default. It looks like our individual sessions are not 100% labeled for all the points, so there are a couple of elements that we think we'd want to add and change so that the plot would be a bit clearer. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get rid of these grid lines. They're not necessarily super helpful. We don't really have that much data that we really need to see things on a grid, so what we're going to do is we're just going to click on this line, and you see it selects a whole bunch of them. We're just going to hit the delete key and they go away. And let's do the same for the vertical grid. So we're going to delete those. Just because it's easy, we're going to add a title. And we could just double click in here and it should just let us pick it all. So let's do reversal design treatment. Well, let's just call it, whoops. Let's just do reversal design example for a miscellaneous behavior. We're not very creative here. And since this goes from 0 to 9, let's say this is a frequency of target behavior, where low frequency would be good, high frequency is bad. You'd want bad behavior to go down. And for the x-axis, this could be either days or sessions. I'm just going to say session. So right now things are looking a little bit clearer. First thing I want to do is I want to change these x points to not be every other, because I don't think that's particularly helpful. And we have more than enough room to accommodate that. So I'm going to edit that. So right now I see that the horizontal axis is selected. I see this box around it. Now I could edit it by right clicking and going to format axis. I could also do the same thing here by going into this panel and saying horizontal axis and hitting format. Either way, it's going to pull up this panel on the side, and there's the bounds, which is like that's the lowest number is 0 and the highest number is 18, and that's fine. Actually, no, I'm going to change that to 17 because we only have 17 data points. And I'm going to hit enter, and I see that computes back out. I'm going to put a 0 in there. Yeah. Now for the units, it says the major unit, like the count, is every 2. I'm going to change that to every 1. And that looks a bit cleaner. So the x-axis is looking a little bit better, and the y-axis is looking a little bit better. Well, maybe not yet. I tend to prefer the y-axis and at a more predictable number. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to format this axis. And just how I tweaked the min and max of x, I'm going to do the same for the y. Where we could start at 0, but let's end at 10, because 10 is a pretty predictable number. And we'll leave that at 10. And since the unit is 1, that's a pretty good place to start. Now right now things are looking a bit clearer. Before we break on this section, I'm just going to modify the font. Right now I see that my default is usually Times New Roman, but when you look in this plot I see a different type of font. And just to kind of keep things with the standard form that I usually type my reports in, I'm going to change everything to Times New Roman. And that's surprisingly straightforward if you go about and you select this entire plot. And up in here I see it's this one. But what I really want to do is I'll just type in times, and once that comes up I'm going to hit enter. And I see it changed it, but it looks a little bit tiny for me, so I'm going to change it to times 12, which is usually my standard. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell it just make everything just black. And things look like they're a little bit more straightforward, a little bit more consistent with how I'd write a report. I'm going to save this. In the next tutorial, what we're going to do is we're going to firm up the color scheme and the markers and the phase lines. So stay tuned to the channel, check back at the website, and I'll see you guys then.